95. But first, right now, we are going to the Farm Bureau phone line to Omaha, Nebraska. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. You may know him as the bus driver. You may know him as Big E. You may know him as Mr. Everett. Everett Kennard joins us right now. He is, I think, officially Director of Transportation at Mississippi State, or at least at some point that was in his title. He's the man. What's up, my friend?
Richard, good to hear from you guys.
All right, hold on now. You can't be all serious today. We're not doing like formal. I need stories. I need energy. I need excitement. I need the real Big E.
And look, I was trying to be nice, but I've got some great stories on you, Richard, that we will delve deep into, man. Let's go.
As far as you want to go. Hey, when's the last time you got on an airplane?
Oh, Lord, man. I don't know. It's been a while. I don't fly much.
Not your preferred mode of transportation.
No. We outrun airplanes. Our job's not to fly them. Our job is to outrun them, baby. We got to be there when they get there.
All right, so walk me through this particular week. You left a couple of days ago, and the idea is to get to Omaha before the team, and then you're trying to, create an environment that feels like home and feels familiar?
Sure, man. They want their team bus, and, of course, as you guys know, they're branded. A lot of teams in the SEC, Ole Miss has branded buses provided by Klein Tours, and Mississippi State's got the same thing. So they wanted their branded buses up here so that everywhere they go, people know who they are. And it's also, Richard, we carry a lot of equipment that they wouldn't get on that airplane, like the pitching machines and things that are just very, very cumbersome and not very good to put on airplanes. But that's what we do. We had a quick turnaround on this one. As you well know, we played Monday night, and they flew out Wednesday afternoon. So, I got to get on my horse. They got to get everything washed up and all the equipment clean and all to put on my bus. And so we finally got out there about 5 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. Wanted to get through St. Louis before, so I didn't have to fight it on Wednesday morning. Stopped about midnight there and cranked back up about 8:30 and got into Omaha. Their flight was delayed. Didn't find out about it until about 30 minutes out. They said we were going to be late, and we were really motoring because it was going to be tight getting here, but it worked out, and their plane was late, and we made it, and everything's good.
Everett Kennard on your radio. We're talking about some of what he does, and we're going to get some Omaha memories as well because he is making his 11th trip with Mississippi State, and that's out of a total of 12 trips. Right. To the College World Series for Mississippi State. Pretty special place, isn't it?
It is, Richard. It's the mecca of college baseball. If you love college baseball, if you know anything about college baseball, Omaha this time of year is the place to be, and what a great job they do with it.
Take me back to Rosenblatt. I never got to go to Rosenblatt Stadium, and that's one of the great regrets that I've got as a college baseball fan. I know it was such an incredibly special place. What stands out for you about the old ballpark, Rosenblatt Stadium?
It was the atmosphere. When you walked in that place, the old ghosts from underneath they were there. You felt the presence. It was the atmosphere and all of that old place. And when you as you approached it, people would rent their houses out to fans, and fans would be sitting on the front porch of these houses going up 13th or whatever street. I think it's 13th Avenue or 13th Street. And they would all be sitting out, and they'd have the grills going and everything. And it looked very similar to a left field lounge at Mississippi State because people had rented their whole houses out, and all these guys had taken over, and quite a number of them were SEC fans.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool setup. And it was like you were driving through a neighborhood to get to it, right?
Yes, you would, and that's just it. It was just like an old-timey neighborhood, and you went in there, and in the early years, it was hard to hit a ball out of that park. And then after they built some additions to the zoo, which is right in the grounds there with Rosenblatt Stadium, they put some buildings up that changed the wind patterns and everything. That thing got to be a launching pad. And, of course, in the 90s, LSU didn't need much of a launching pad to hit what they did.
No, they certainly didn't. Have you been back to where they've got the wiffle ball field and kind of home plate still set up there?
Yes, I went back. We went back right after they did that, right after they built the sterile new stadium the first year back. I went over there because I wanted to see what they had done, and they did a really, really good job of doing the mini park and all. It's very nice. They've got the plaque at home plate of where the home plate used to be, and they kind of created a small atmosphere there. It's very, very, very tastefully done.
Yeah. Everett Kennard on your radio. He's driving from Mississippi State this week and a half, maybe a couple of weeks for their entire stay in Omaha for the College World Series. Let's press pause before we get to some of your College World Series memories. And talk to me about driving for other teams. I guess you've done that as recently as about 4 days ago. Really cool what you put on Twitter about Notre Dame and the hat that Link Jarrett, their head coach, gave you after it was all said and done. That's an interesting relationship because you're a Mississippi State guy to your core, but you've got friends at schools all over the country because of the way you've treated them.
Yeah, and it's something that we love to do because we want to show off Starkville and we want to show off what Mississippi State does for regional tournaments and all. And, we feel like being local and all, we can help them with restaurants, with a lot of different things there that the normal person probably can't. But you just have to be very professional. I tell them up front, I've driven Mississippi State now for 38 years. Guys, I'm going to try to be professional with this thing. And if you got a problem with it, you just tell me. I'll get you another driver. But inevitably, every one of them have come back and said, no, man, we appreciate it. And they just such class people. My job is a network. I have a network of people all around this conference and all around this country. And it's just so good to be able to see those people and handle them, and then in the end they become friends. It's interesting because I was hauling Notre Dame this weekend, and I had hauled the Notre Dame team in 2000 when Paul Maneri was the head coach. And of course, Coach Maneri and I became close friends and stayed in touch through LSU and through everything. And then on the assistant coach, the pitching coach on that team was O'Connor. And Brian O'Connor, and we
Virginia
saw each other last night. He's here with Virginia, and we had some great memories. And then the center fielder for that team was Steve Stanley, and he and I have been emailing back and forth this last week during the Super Regional. Became close friends with his parents. Even stopped in Columbus, Ohio, one time and visited them when I went through the city. And it's just great to catch up with all these people and to stay in touch with all of them. And they're just baseball people are just class people, and it's a wonderful network and a wonderful family.
What's the longest drive you've had to make, whether it was for a sports team or otherwise?
Well, I took the equipment truck to Eugene, Oregon when football opened up out there, and that was a 41-hour trip. That was. I've been to BYU twice. Those were big ones, and just wherever we go, it was whatever they need, whatever they want. That's what we do.
Is there somewhere you want to go that you haven't been?
I would love to do a home game at Notre Dame in football. I think that would be. I think that would be super, super fantastic. Now, one thing that I have done that I enjoyed, now it was a women's sport, but I went to Cameron in Duke, and we were there for a regional, and so I've been inside Cameron. That was on my bucket list, was to go to Cameron, and I want to go to Notre Dame. I've been there and seen the mural, and I've seen the dome, but I've never been there on a football day and gone inside the stadium and all. And I think it would just be so neat to do a home game at Notre Dame.
And your summers, I mean, when college baseball season ends, you don't wait long before you get back on the road, just not in that big old bus wrapped with Hail State on it, right?
That's right, and I'm looking so forward to it this year.
Headed to Cape Cod?
Yeah, we go to Cape Cod. We go up through Indiana and spend the 4th with my son, and then we start across, and we go to Cape Cod and run it. And we kind of hang out with Coach Polk up there, wherever he is. This year he's at Wareham. And we'll have our reservations at Falmouth. We'll stay there. We take all our cooking gear, and wherever Coach Polk is, he'll have Mississippi State players with him. And there will be other players from around the SEC and from the state of Mississippi. We have Ole Miss players and all up there. And if they're on his team, then we feed that team. We take our left field lounge stuff, and we feed that team. We cooked 40-something racks of ribs with all the trimmings and everything. We even make cobbler and take Mississippi State ice cream with us. We take a big freezer and we take all that stuff with us. And then we go on up to Amsterdam, New York, because Mississippi State will have about 3 players at Amsterdam playing in that Mohawk League. And we'll cook for that ball club. So in that run of about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, we'll cook 100 racks of ribs with all the trimmings and everything, and just enjoy. Just my wife and I, we have a ball, man. It is fun. If you like college baseball, that's the place to go because there's nothing about facilities. They're all kind of beefed up high school facilities. The grass might be cut and it might not. So it's not about facilities. It's just about the best baseball players in the United States getting together and battling it. And you see many, many first-round draft choices. The other thing is,
can you hang with me for a few more minutes, E?
Oh yeah, man, sure.
All right, let's take a quick timeout. We've got more coming up with Everett Kennard. We're going to get to some college baseball memories from Omaha and a few other things. Sports Talk Mississippi. Rolling on with Everett Kennard, Big E. He is the lead bus driver for Mississippi State. On the Farm Bureau phone line, check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. Listen to these messages that we're getting, E. Can someone ask that man how I apply for a job driving for State? I have the license. Another one says, I have a CDL and love to eat. I'm Norm, and I live on the coast. Dave says, I just want to hang out with that guy. Bradley says, I want to spend my summer with him. This is the coolest crap ever. There are a lot of people that think you've got it made, Everett.
Well, I do, and I've been so blessed, Richard. In my lifetime, God has blessed me so much, and I tell people all the time, I got the greatest job in America. I get paid to watch ball games, and it's such a network. Again, this is what I do, and I love people, and I love interacting with people, and they're just it's just a dream job now. I don't think you could open a bottle and pour me out any better into a situation.
Well, I think the mold was thrown away when you were made also, so it's not just opening a bottle and pouring you out, but
there are people that would say, thank goodness.
Perhaps. You were close to your dad and lost him not too terribly long ago. What an incredible man that loved Mississippi State and loved his boy also.
My dad was the hardest working man I've ever met in my life. He knew nothing but hard work, and that's what he instilled in his children, and we carried that legacy. But I tell people all the time, my dad was a self-proclaimed engineer. He did finish at Mississippi State in mechanical engineering, but I've been around a lot of professors and PhDs in my lifetime, Richard. I've been around a lot of people in the educational field. I have never been around a person as smart as my dad. My dad could make anything. He could do anything, and he enjoyed doing it. He enjoyed helping others, and he worked his tail off.
Yeah, that is quite the legacy to leave. You and Jim Ellis, you spent a lot of hours together through the years, and you know it's a relatively recent thing that Jim has had an analyst, but that did not mean that he was sitting alone in the radio booth for all those years when he was doing play-by-play by himself.
No, and Jim and I, we roomed together, in baseball. We roomed together for, I guess 25, 27 years, something like that. And we became like two old women, we knew each other's habits and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I bet you have.
But I mean, we really, and COVID stopped all that. Now you get your private room. Of course, I'm sure Jim's glad of that, but because he doesn't have to watch any more Law and Order. But Jim is let me tell you about Jim Ellis, and you will appreciate this being a broadcaster. Jim Ellis may be the most prepared broadcaster. I don't know how you guys do it, but I know how Jim Ellis does it. This guy's got he gets up in the morning, he's got 6 or 8 pages of notes to use during the broadcast that he might use one. But that sucker has got all that ammunition, and he is so well prepared, and that's one thing that makes him so good.
Yeah. Well, and his ability to paint a picture. We were talking on Monday in Game 3 of the Super Regional. I watched early, but I needed to get the grass cut. And I thought, you know what? It's perfect. I'm going to pop the earbuds in, get on the lawnmower, and I'll let Jim tell me about it. And it just is such a great way to take in baseball.
How about
DK,
Ron
Polk?
Those two guys, DK and David Kellum and Jim Ellis, you put those 2 years of service together, my goodness, as a state of Mississippi, and is it Jim Cox at Southern?
John Cox.
John Cox. I mean, you put those 3 guys together. Is Mississippi blessed with baseball knowledge and the emphasis and all that's put on baseball with those 3 guys telling the story? Holy smokes.
There's no question. I mean, between the 3 of them, you're talking about almost 130 years of radio broadcasting experience of college baseball in the state of Mississippi. What about you and Polky?
Piece of work, my man. The most unusual guy I've ever been around in my life, but I love him to death now. I love him like a brother, and he is one amazing human being, and what he's done for the game of college baseball is unheralded. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. What he's still doing. In fact, he left last Sunday to go to Cape, all excited about putting that uniform on. He ain't had it on a year and a half, and he is so excited about putting that uni back on.
Everett, what makes Ron Polk tick?
Ron Polk ticks is here again. He's the most prepared human being I've ever been around. He can talk about two things intelligently. He can talk about baseball and blackjack. That's the only two things that if you want to ask him something, that's the only two things the guy can talk about intelligently. Now, he's the easiest guy in the world. For that reason, he's the easiest guy in the world to pull a practical joke on. And I've pulled 100 on him, and he's never gotten mad. Not once does he get mad. I've never heard him raise his voice at anybody other than an umpire. And this guy right here is so level key. He should have fired me 20 times. I'll just be honest with you.
Has he ever pulled any practical jokes on you?
No, Coach Polk doesn't. Like I say, if it ain't got to do with baseball or blackjack, he's out of his league now. We can talk about a lot of things, but that's it. When he first came to Starkville, I had all the ladies that tell me, "Hey, Everett, my niece needs to go out with him. He needs to go out with my niece. He's not married. He needs to go out with this one. He needs to go out with that one." And I'd say I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I mean, what are they going to say, y'all? What's a fastball? And I'll tell you this, now, this is a true story. We used to interview the Diamond Girls. I was on the committee one year that picked the Diamond Girls, and they have to answer questions. And Ron Polk's question, I mean, always, this was his one question that you had to know, and you better know it. What's a squeeze play? If you didn't know it, you ain't getting on there.
I was going to guess that he would make them describe the infield fly rule.
No.
Squeeze play. There you go. Got the squeeze. All right, so your 11th trip to Omaha with Mississippi State. We're visiting with Everett Kennard. He is the bus driver and so much more for Mississippi State athletics. Give me a couple that stand out, whether it's games or players or somebody you've met, just something that stands out from these trips that you've made pretty frequently.
Well, I'm like all Mississippi State fans. The two most important, the two things in our memory are the ball hitting G. Morgan in the 85 series. Would we have won the game? I don't know, but it certainly didn't help any. And then the other one was in the 85 game when Greg Elena, who was a pinch hitter, hits a 2-run home run for the walk-off home run. I know exactly where I was sitting in Section L in the old stadium, and I can tell you right now it was one of the worst feelings of my life.
Yeah. What did 2013 feel like to you? And are the memories the same now at TD Ameritrade as when they came from Rosenblatt?
The feelings they're different. No, they're not the same. They're different. But the 13 team now, and what a great job John Cohen did with that group. The 13 team, and you look, we just were a pitcher short there. I mean, we could. Hats off to UCLA. They played the short game. We should have beat them, but I mean, they played the short game to their advantage. They had some pretty good arms on the hill, and it was their day. So we lost. You tip your cap, but Lord have mercy. Mississippi State had a chance to play in the national championship there. Mississippi State in women's basketball had a chance to play in the national championship. Mississippi State in football played for the SEC championship in Atlanta, and Everett Kennard was there for all of them. How blessed am I for that? In the 96 Final Four with Richard Williams in basketball. So, I mean, holy smokes, guys. This cat sitting right here has been so fortunate. And we're talking about Mississippi State now. We ain't talking about Notre Dame. We ain't talking about Duke. We ain't talking, we're talking about Mississippi State.
I don't know if you actually like any Ole Miss people, but you at least pretend like you do, which kind of makes us feel good also.
Oh, I love Ole Miss people. I mean, I compete against them. I want to beat them. I tell people all the time in the world that if we weren't playing them, I do pull for them occasionally. I don't want a lot of Mississippi State people to know that, but I do pull for them occasionally when they're playing different people. But no, I am so good friends. I'm trying to think, and you guys tell me who it was. Who was the guy that Ole Miss in recent years had that played the outfield, then came in and was a relief pitcher or the starting pitcher. I met
You're not talking about Stephen Head, are you?
Who?
You're not talking about Stephen Head, are you?
No, not Head. This is recent.
Olenek?
This has been in the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh, Ryan Olenek.
And I met him in Cape Cod, and we became very good friends. He is a super nice guy, and I like Mike Bianco. Mike talks to me. We speak. He's very cordial. He doesn't have to be. And I'll tell you this, Richard. When you're in my position and you're the bus driver, when a head coach or an athletic director or somebody that doesn't have to speak to the bus driver speaks to me, it means a lot to me because they don't have to, man.
Yeah.
They don't have to.
All right, last thing for you. Do you take advantage of the bus driver eats free discounts when you're on the road?
You better believe it, brother. You better believe it.
My man. Hey, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Hope it all goes well. Try not to hit any parked cars while you're out there. We don't need any dummy marks on that bus.
Hey, I'm not worried about the parked ones. I'm worried about the moving ones. But let me tell you something. But for you guys, as you well know, I listen to you all the time. And thanks, guys, because it's a great show. And what you do is everybody in the state of Mississippi appreciates it.
You're the best, Steve. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.